Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Tech2 Talks. I'm Ankit Vengurlekar, and with me today is a very dapper looking Atul Jalan. Who is Atul Jalan? Atul is the author of this book. Right now, that's the only scope of work we're going to discuss, because the number of things this tech maverick has done in India, my God, we're going to need like multiple episodes of Tech2 Talks for that. But his latest book is your first book as well?
Yeah, this first book.
First book. It's called Where Will Man Take Us? Why not Where Will Woman Take Us?
No, it's gender neutral. Yeah, honestly. It's when you put a human or something, it just acquires a different connotation.
Okay,
so it's gender neutral in the best possible way.
Perfect. Okay, good to get that out of the way. Yeah. Where Will Man Take Us? The bold story of the man technology is creating. Not the technology man is creating, but how technology is shaping up humanity. Now, you may have read quite a few books from an international perspective on this subject, but this book is important because from an Indian lens, from an Indian author's lens, it takes a look at what globally technology is doing and shaping. So, thank you so much for writing this book. Okay. And it's great to have you here in the studio.
I'm so excited.
Likewise. So let's take a look at 2 or 3 of the big, bold headlines that you have presented, postulated in the book. You talk about how, and it's right in the title, how technology is changing humanity itself. Okay, talk to us, help people understand who've not read the book yet, and I urge all of you to take a look and read it, because not just from a technologist's perspective or a tech reporter's perspective, it's a fantastic read just to see, OMG, this is really what is happening with us today. So talk to us about the 2 or 3 big headlines, you know.
So look, the submission of the book is that if you look down the history, you would find 2 distinct threads. Our distinct abilities to invent stories and our distinct ability to invent technologies. We invent both. Both of them go on to reinvent our ways of life. Take a pause. We're not the strongest animal in the animal kingdom.
Not even remotely.
In a scale of 5 of food chain, we are 2.21, literally between anchovies and pigs.
I love that anecdote you keep citing.
Literally. Think about, I tell this to many people.
Anchovies, pigs, Homo sapiens. Yeah. Same level.
Yeah, and look at, and yet we lord the universe. Yet we actually imagine this universe, multiverse, to be there for some fulfillment of us.
Yes. And we obviously continue to.
Gives us that goal, that anthropocentric view of a multiverse, that we had problem accepting that we may not be at the center, that we might be a speck in the large canvas which is out there. It is, I think, our abilities, our facilities, and we cannot through my book, I want, at least I get thrilled, I get goosebumps every time I think about it. I think all our progress, I'll repeat, is basis of 2 distinct capabilities of ours. Our facilities of inventing stories. All our stories, right? Whether it is money, whether it
religion,
is everything is story.
Societal structure.
And our ability to invent technologies, from opposable thumb to fire, wheel, steam engine, electricity, telephone, Google, all been our inventions that have gone on to reinvent our ways of life.
Absolutely.
One more thing, there's a other relationship between story and technology. Okay. First we imagine, then we write stories, and most of these stories have been brought to life by our technologies. All mythologies, all good science fictions are today's science realities.
Correct. I mean, just look at the examples all around, right? Iron Man, science fiction? Not anymore. Look at a company called Gravity that is creating wearable jetpacks and jet suits for anybody. Interplanetary travel, Star Trek, Star Wars, not science fiction anymore, absolute reality. I mean, we have Chandrayaan happening, you have SpaceX happening.
Look at your phone, the kind of stuff that your phone does.
Yeah, we take that for granted the most because it's so accessible.
We didn't even imagine a prophet or a godman to have the kind of capabilities that each of us carry in our pocket through our phones.
True.
Okay, so I think our good technology brings all our good science fiction alive.
Right.
My submission, going back to the book, is that we are at the cusp of another major rechange, another major rehaul. This time too brought to us by our technologies, this time brought to us by technologies and confluence of artificial intelligence, of nanotechnology, of quantum computing, of biotech and genetic engineering.
These are all very, very big and loaded, heavy words. Why don't you break it down and give us one or two, sort of examples or scenarios that help people understand how this is impacting us?
Ankit, what I want to lay out here first is, I'll come back to what these technologies are and what they are doing and how the confluence works together. But what it does is something very profound. All these while, our evolution, that's what we learned through Darwin, all these while, our evolution has been through natural selection.
Correct.
Based on environmental factors, our evolution has been through natural selection.
Survival of the fittest.
Because of biotech and genetic engineering, because of our technologies merging with our biology, okay, the evolution would be artificially engineered by us. And to me, that changes everything. That literally makes us our own God. That means literally we'll be overcoming. Look, anyway, we live, our lifespans have increased in the last 50 years by 50 years.
I read in your book, you said that the first batch of humans that will continue to live to 100 plus years, 150 years old, have already been born.
That is true.
Our kids could live up to 125, 150 years.
A kid who is born today, okay, chances are that kid would be living 110, 115 years.
And chances are on maybe another spatial object like the moon or another planet or some other, satellite version of planet Earth. I mean, you talk about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think increasingly, you can see around us, okay, it's not that by some chance somebody decided somewhere that let these guys live more.
Right.
It's again because of our technologies, right?
In medical,
okay, in developed countries like Japan and all, the average age is anyway moved to 93. Even in emerging economies, the average age is today 78. Okay,
which literally used to be half of that just a few decades ago. Turn of the century, I mean, when India was, fighting for its independence, average lifespan was in 30s and 40s, which is today now close to 80 years old.
And I think we are soon going to be overcoming disease, pain, old age, and even death. Look at what technology is giving us. The goal, if you will, to believe that death may not be a natural phenomena, that death may be our technology deficiency, or our lack of understanding how to avoid death, if you will. There are companies already. These are not
that are working on.
Exactly.
That you may leave your physical body.
These are not somebody's imagination.
Right.
There are companies who are taking different approaches. Increasing your telomerase, which is your length of your handicap of your cells, to many other methods to avoid death.
Physically. And literally right now, as we see the digital conscience of a human being, the digital reality or the identity of a human being, that is in a way immortal already as we speak.
Absolutely. Then it becomes such a circus. Then if you look at your capabilities to engineer yourself inside out,
right,
to genetically engineer yourself,
right,
then you could, each of us could be a designer baby, each of us could be a Superman, each of us could continue to live whichever way we wanted to live. And of course, if you kind of play it out, the way our things are progressing, that moving forward, you would argue that I'm going to store my consciousness. Okay, one of the things that you spoke about AI, the reason I love AI is not only because of all the fantastic innovations, applications that it throws, but also first time we are asking ourselves some profound questions like,
what is our consciousness?
Who am I? What is consciousness? What is self-awareness? All these while we have looked at these questions only and only through the lenses of religion and or philosophy. First time we are putting lenses of quantitative, scientific, algorithmic lens on this man-old questions, no?
That's remarkable. That's remarkable. It keeps bringing me back to what you just said, how we literally don't need, how many ever, I don't know, in India we have how many lakhs of gods and goddesses and deities because human becomes human's own god and deity and ultimate supreme being. But let's come back to some of those one or two examples, like I said, because a lot of times what happens is, it can get intimidating or alarming to just try and understand how exactly is nanotechnology or quantum technology or artificial intelligence or even genetic engineering. Aaj ki tarikh mein, if I'm sitting here in Lower Parel in Mumbai, it's not affecting me. This is great for some Jeff Bezos. This is great for some Sundar Pichai. This is great for some Elon Musk. How is this affecting my life? If you can, give us that sense of here and now.
I have few things to say.
Sure.
It is affecting all of us. And talking about book, the change is in front of all of us. If I were to ask you, would you agree that life has changed more in last 10, 15 years than say previous 75 years? My guess is most of you would agree. If I were to ask you, do you see life changing more over next 10, 15 years than say previous 250 years? My reckoning is most of you would again agree. Okay. Look, I keep using this analogy. The earth is hurtling around the space at 1,600 kilometers per hour. But we don't feel it.
Correct.
Because we are part of that change. We are part of that movement. We don't feel the changes afoot because we are in it. To my mind, forget the immortality, overcoming of old age and death. Where my book dwells most time upon is it changes all our societal construct. Okay, it changes our idea of democracy. Look at social media. It has shaken up an American election.
Correct.
Just a Facebook kind of tool. Few people sitting out of Russia, okay, could have changed the outcome was potentially of American election. It is changing our idea of democracy. And I'm also trying to say through my book, maybe look, democracy evolved over 2,500 years.
Right.
From a town hall, Athenian, direct democracy to a representative form of democracy. Okay, maybe we are again going back to direct democracy because our technologies allow it. Maybe on all big decisions, government would be forced to take a referendum. Okay, from citizens.
Right.
Okay, I don't know whether it's a right thing or wrong thing, but I think Brexit, that's the people are surprised that there is.
The writing is on the wall.
So the point is, it's changing our idea of freedom. It's changing our idea of democracy. It's changing with automation, robots, and other thing. There's already a fear of job loss, job displacement, and so on. It's changing our idea of job, money, the identity that we associate with. It's also changing our idea of sexuality, of marital relationship.
I want to come to you on that because that's a subject of personal interest as well. We have already seen in its very, very preliminary and early days, I would say, so to say, of internet. Internet is only 30 years old. World Wide Web, invented by Sir Tim Berners-Lee, is only 30 years old. We celebrated 30th anniversary this year.
And the application of it, what brought internet alive was the GUI, graphical user interface browser.
Correct.
Of Netscape by Mark Andreessen,
Netscape Navigator,
which got released in 1995.
Hit a like to this if you remember browsing internet on Netscape Navigator and Alta Vista.
Yeah, so I my tech career and my browsing career precedes that. I used to.
The question I was coming to is that, already in just such a young medium, we have seen a profound impact on the very fabric of society and how we interact with each other. Already we are seeing the strains on interpersonal relationships of internet.
If I ask all of us, imagine just for 5 minutes, and write down, imagine how you used to live when this smartphone was not there. You'll struggle.
I mean, I remember...
And you and I are our interstitial generation.
We are the bridge generation.
We have seen an era without smartphone.
STD PCO की लाइन में हम खड़े होके coin डाल के call किया है.
अब सब कुछ किया है ना. We will struggle.
Right.
That's the thing about technology. it quickly becomes you. It quickly becomes you, sir.
No, but it erodes. Atul, what about that? You said it's going to change. It is already changing. Sexuality, marital institutions, relationships. What does it mean to be me? What does it mean to associate with another human being? Is there more harm being done than good? Because I get it, as a tech evangelist, one looks at the positive and the optimistic side of technology. But if anything that 2016, 17, 18, 19 have shown through Cambridge Analytica, through the Facebook debacle, is how one needs to be very, very aware of how badly and negatively technology or internet or tools can be weaponized against us.
Great question. अब मुझे मैं तीन points मैं अपना point रखना चाहूँगा. Point number one is technology is immoral. A knife has no morality of its own.
It's a tool.
I can cut salad, I can cut a Gordian knot, and I can cut myself open or you open, right? So technology is immoral.
Sure.
Yeah, the morality and immorality belongs to people who use it.
But there is such a thing as algorithmic bias.
We'll come to that. Okay. Second is, if you look, technology, all in all, is a creative and a progressive force.
Okay.
Okay. Now, where the challenge comes, and my reason, I'll again go back to come here, and thank you for inviting me, and is I think there's a civil war in US. I think there's a civil war in UK. I think the biggest disconnect, the biggest defining challenge of our next 5, 10, 15, 20 years is the disconnect people would feel. On one hand, where our technology is taking us, and the other hand, our inertia to change. And I want to add something there. There are two biggest change agents. Policy making, which is politics, and education. They are the biggest laggards as well. They are prepared, as they say, to fight the last menace. They're not prepared for the next battle. And that is the disconnect. Personally, I see in Trump, I see in hyper-nationalism, the whole symbolism that the wall stands for is to hunker down, not change. Even the Brexit. So I think the defining challenge, the hyper-nationalism is that you see all around you globally. It's product of where technology and our life has moved on irreversibly and our inertia to change.
Right.
तो तनाव होगा ना अगर एक string इधर से तनाव it's a tug of war है ये.
बिल्कुल. I'm going to keep bringing you back to the Indian context because ये dialogue India के context में करना ज़रूरी है. In India, what do we do? What does a polity do? What we don't understand, we fear and we ban. Cryptocurrency, let's ban it. Drones, let's ban it. TikTok, let's ban it. PUBG, let's ban it.
तो ये
Internet, let's ban it.
तो देखो.
So where are we? दुनिया यहाँ बात कर रही है सिंगुलैरिटी की, हम यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं.
अपने देश को टेक्नोलॉजी की जो ड्राइव है और उसके आगे अपना देश जो बहुत एक इजी ऑप्शन लेता है, बैन कर दो. किताब है कंट्रोवर्शियल, उसको बैन कर दो. कोई कंट्रोवर्शियल बात करता है, उसको बैन कर दो. उससे बहस करो, एक अच्छी किताब लिखो या किताब के बदले किताब लिखो, वो तो नहीं है, बैन कर दो. उसके बावजूद आप यहाँ पोर्नोग्राफी नहीं बैन कर पाए ना. वो मॉरली भी लगता कि ठीक ही है, मतलब कोई खुल के तो नहीं बोल पाता कि मत बैन करो, मतलब रास्ते में उतर के नहीं बोलता कि भैया पोर्नोग्राफी मत बैन करो, है ना. अंदर से बोलता क्यों कर रहे हो यार, थोड़े बहुत मेरे इंटरटेनमेंट हैं, क्यों छीनते हो. नहीं कर पाए ना. आप टेक्नोलॉजी का जो फोर्स ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी है ना, वो बहुत क्रिएटिव फोर्स है सर. आप उस पे
स्पीड ब्रेकर्स
लगा सकते हो, आप उसको रोक नहीं सकते हो. आप रोक नहीं सकते हो. मैं आपको बहुत सारे उदाहरण दे सकता हूँ. मैं आपको 19th सेंचुरी 18th सेंचुरी जापान जो एक आइलैंड था, समझ गए, उन्होंने तो 200-300 साल ना वहाँ से कोई परिंदा बाहर गया ना परिंदा अंदर आया. हाँ, जो ईडो पीरियड उन्होंने कुछ कहीं टेक्नोलॉजी के फोर्सेस आप नहीं आप उसको डिले कर सकते हो.
करेक्ट.
वो फोर्सेस नेचर हैं, हो जाते हैं.
Right. No, but so in a country like India or in our context, does a lagging politicians or an education system जिससे बच्चे अपने आप को बहुत ही disenfranchised पाते हैं and they realize that the skills the world requires in hundreds and thousands of numbers. The world requires data scientists to work on AI and ML models. India can potentially become the world's greatest and largest exporter of data scientists and AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning experts. But is our education model reinventing itself, realigning itself to train this whole new breed of people to make them future ready? The answer is largely no. And that's the reason that from a country like India, despite being 1.3 billion plus, and despite producing incredible people like Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai and so many other Silicon Valley czars, we struggle to create companies of value from in India itself. Where's India's Facebook? Where's India's Google? Where's India's Apple? We struggle to create global products. Do you think this will change?
I think so.
And soon?
I think so. I think there's so many opportunities out there. I personally feel that because this disruption which is coming through, okay, all the existing templates are broken, okay, things are imploding. Where we have an opportunity and what our challenge would be to redefine those new norms, to redefine those new templates. Okay, and there's a lot of opportunity in India from a business and economic point of view. Look at the data thing. I personally, I'm a liberal. I believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in every which way. I do have a utopian dream that there'll be a borderless world. But at the same time, I do agree that India, and because it's an opportunity, not because of only data sovereignty. Of course, there's an angle to that. If data is the new oil, and in tomorrow trade war scenario, what if somebody
switches off our data?
Secondly, data is the new oil. These are my resources. Why should I not get the first chance to monetize it? Okay, both for efficiency and for money. Yeah, so I think there are so much opportunity, and all in all, I think where India is, look, $3 trillion economy, one government or the other, one bad monsoon or the other, we still going to be growing at 7-8% year on year. That you're already in a middle income group spectrum, maybe this end of the middle income group spectrum, and I think wonderful things happens to country, quality of living of its people, and the way they look at their politics and their education and their future. I'm optimistic that over the next 5-10 years, some wonderful things are going to be happening from here and here. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I would just like to ask one last question. Anything that you'd like to leave us in terms of an excerpt or a takeaway from your book, 2 or 3 of the key opportunities or sunrise sectors, so to say, over the immediate future?
I'll come to that, but if I could make a request.
Sure.
You spoke about the downside of technologies.
Right.
The biggest downside, look at internet, look at social media. When it came, we all thought it's going to homogenize the world. I just spoke about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We thought just by getting exposed to other people's perspective is going to bring a level of empathy, compassion, understanding, even if I don't agree. Ironically, an exact opposite has happened. Right from becoming Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we become Kupamandukam. All right? We are frog in a well. Okay? And people like me are, there are 2-3 things working. Whether it's Facebook or other social media, the whole algorithms, they lock you into a filter bubble. I show you things that you want to see. You hear things that you want to hear. You swipe out the other kind of views. So you are locking yourself in echo chambers. That is why I believe that a lot of people missed out Brexit or a Trump or many other things because they were not listening. My thing is, I think that is, if I really fear one thing, I fear this phenomena. Okay, we need to break our bubbles. And the way to break this bubble is just listen to others' point of view. Please do not agree by all means. You have to break that bubble. Okay, if I'm one thing I'm worried about, okay, is that bubble that we are locking ourselves in.
Right.
It has multifarious disadvantages, even in your personal life. my reckoning is, even with all those connectedness, perhaps there is a greater sense of loneliness that people feel today than would have felt any other time.
Because of these echo chambers.
Think about it. I think if I want to leave with a parting thought, I think technology, as I said, you can use it for good things, you could use it for immoral things. I think we need to overcome this grip of social media and internet on us, where we have jammed ourselves into our own echo chambers.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. That's a beautiful thought. As a parting question, I'd like to ask you one last thing. Do you ever spend any time or days without your smartphone, without any access to internet or something like that? Because you're so fully immersed in all of that.
Yeah, but I do. I think I was talking to a bunch of kids yesterday, and I was actually meaning it that the Mahapurush of tomorrow is the person who can take a break from, because there's so much of noise, right?
Right.
When I say Mahapurush and the visionary is somebody through this noise can maintain clarity and calm.
Right.
You got my point? I mean, a lot of people, so I try consciously to limit my time with a phone. I'm lucky that I never got drawn towards certain social media platforms. I'll repeat, I think tomorrow's Vijeta is who can maintain clarity through all the clutter and noise which is out there.
That's fantastic. Where will man take us? The bold story of the man technology is creating, Atul Jalan's maiden book, and a very, very riveting read. If you enjoyed this conversation, I had an absolute ball listening to Atul speak, then I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy reading this as well. I'm generally very, very skeptical about books that comment or lament on the human condition and intersection of technology and society, but this is genuinely a fantastic effort. So congratulations, Atul, on this effort, and looking forward to what's next from your stable.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
In case you liked this video, don't forget to share this and hit the like button and subscribe to Tech2's YouTube channel. We have 2 YouTube channels now. There's one called Tech2 Gaming for all you PUBG loving creatures, and there is Tech2 Gadgets for all things science, tech and news. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.